Hello and welcome to Squidly Bits, our second channel where we make the best tutorials on the freaking internet. And today I'm gonna show you 3 ways to level up your facial game once and for all. Without further ado, let's get started. The 3 different heads I'll be painting today will be a pale face, a sunny, sunburnt Caucasian skin tone, and a slightly darker skin tone. And the best thing, just like always, all the paints you will ever need to follow this video can all be found in our amazing paint sets that we've made with Vallejo. So get the paint sets, get your minis, and let's get started. Okay, so we've all been there before. We just went into our local game store, we picked up some Space Wolves, some Chaos Dudes, maybe some Beast Claw Raiders, and now we want to paint a pale skin tone. But where do we start? Well, we start by grabbing burnt red, skin tone, light flesh, blue-green, scarlet blood, and dark rust. What I like to do is start by mixing the burnt red and some skin tone about 60 to 40% and apply this to the entire face. Then to move on, we add a bit more skin tone to the mix and apply this to all the areas that would be lighter. In this step we don't care about the riffles in the forehead or anything, we just add this as a general highlight to all the large areas. Meaning that I will fill in the forehead, the cheekbones, then leaving all the harsh shadows untouched. Then just adding more and more skin tone to the mix and moving in on a slightly smaller area for each time, we can build up the highlights. Then if you really want to push this to the next level, we can move in with some light flesh and add this to a super tiny area. Otherwise it will look like utter garbage. Make sure to get these as the tiniest little speckles as you possibly can. Now we have a skin tone that looks kind of boring and weird, and you're sitting there being like, but Lucas, I thought this would be a video where you show how to paint good faces. Well, to do that, it's time to move on to the sort of adding interestingness step by bringing out the blue-green and the scarlet blood. These paints will add to certain areas to make them feel more natural and mean it looking like a real human being. The blue-green will add to all of the areas where you'd had a lot of facial hair in your face. So if you see, for me example, you have it around the jawline, and if you're bald, you maybe have it sort of around the dome of your head. And trust me, this might look a little bit weird when you first apply it, but then when you take a step back, if you overdid it, it's still gonna look really cool. The red I'll add to the areas around the cheeks, the nose, the ears, and pretty much all of the areas in your face where you have a lot of blood flow showing through the skin. Then by adding some small details such as eyes, painting the lips, maybe adding some eyebrows, and heck, even maybe some freckles, we should have a face that looks something like this. Face number 2, sunny skin tone. Next up, we'll cover a more sun-kissed skin tone, perfect for all your desert warriors, your Conan the Barbarian minis, and the paints I'll be using for this will be burnt red, sunny skin tone, ice yellow, scarlet blood, and blue-green. Now to get the slightly richer base coat for this one, I like to start by applying straight up burnt red to the entire face. Then by making a mix of sunny skin tone and burnt red, we can use the same steps of mapping out all the planes as we did in the previous phase. Then by working our way up to pure sunny skin tone, we build up the highlights. And just like with the pale face, in this next step, precision will be key. So if you're painting a lot of Lord of the Rings miniatures, maybe skip this step entirely, because now it's time to bring out the ice yellow and add the finest possible highlights to the topmost raised areas of the face. Once we're finished with all the highlighting, it's once again time to bring out the scarlet blood and the blue-green and glaze it to the same areas as with the pale skin. However, for this one we make it slightly more diluted, or we can add some of that sunny skin tone burnt red mix to the red and blue and glaze that over to sort of not have it as prominent as with the pale face. Because what I believe is that when you're out, you've gotten some color on your skin because from all the sun, the blues and reds aren't as showing as when you're really pale out in the winter time looking sick and maybe you're even cursed by some freaking chaos god. Fixing some eyes, lips, eyelids, lashes, everything you want. Bada bing, bada boom. You should have a mini that looks something like this. Phase number 3, dark skin. Once again, let's put ourselves in the scenario that we've ever been in, a local game store and we want to pick up some salamanders. But then you feel like, I don't think I can do this justice because I don't know how to paint a nice looking dark skin tone on the face of the miniature. And this is something that I feel like all us hobbyists are a bit, slap on the fingers for because we rarely paint darker skin tone. So after this video, everyone is gonna be brilliant. And the paints that I like to use from our paint set will be dark rust, burnt red, skin tone, light flesh, scarlet blood, and deck tan. We begin by covering the entire face using dark rust. Next up, I'll mix some skin tone and burnt red about 50-50, then add some dark rust to that mix. It should look something like this. Then adding this to the same planes as we did with the previous faces, we can start building up the brightness. And to go up in brightness, I'll now add more and more skin tone to that mix. And one key element in painting these darker skin tones is that now when we're reaching sort of the final highlight of this step, instead of using like a pure skin tone or light flesh as we did with the previous faces, we want to sort of end on what we would sort of consider being more of a mid-tone in the previous looking faces. And this is really gonna sell the effect of this not just being a really high contrast regular Caucasian skin tone, whereas it's actually a darker skin tone. And now to tackle the same beard and hairline, we're gonna switch out the blue-green for deck tan as I mentioned before. Then by mixing the deck tan with some dark rust, we should get an almost pinkish grayish tone. We'll then super gently glaze this mix over the jawline and around the hair if they're bald. And now you might be asking why you're using gray instead of blue. And I have no idea, but just for some reason I find this to look better than using blue. So I'm using the gray and I have better looking minis for it, and so should you. But if you want to use blue, be my guest. Then the final part to the glazing step will be to add the red around the nose, the cheekbones and the little ears. And then by painting all of the small details, the eyes, the lips, everything we said previously, you should have a miniature that looks something like this. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss them. And if you want to see these videos a week earlier than everyone else and be a part of the greatest community on this entire planet, make sure to check out our Patreon. They're just so good. They make sure we can do this for a living. So it's supporting us. You get to be part of it. Special thanks to the top donors. You guys are lit. With that said, have a nice day.